In lesson 12 we're going to have a look at basically water bills. Here's one from Cowra Council. Again, fairly typical of any sort of bill that you'll get. There's some general information about the organisation issuing the bill. There's some information about the property, okay, and normally there'd be the person's name there, but we've removed that there. Look, you've got a lot of information that doesn't really matter. So the assessment number, well, who cares? The issue date, it's not a huge issue. It just gives you some idea between the issue date and the due date. So here they've got about 2 weeks to organise the payment there. Look, the important things are this is when the money is actually due, and this is the amount that's due. Anything else there is not, it's not overly, it doesn't matter too much. You might just want to be able to check it yourself. So the metre number, well, who cares what their water number is. Here we've got the date that the metre was previously read and the reading, and here is the latest reading and the latest date of reading and the latest read of the metre. And if you find the difference between those, you find that they've gone through 60 kilolitres of water. That's carried down to here. They're being charged $3.31 for each kilolitre, and if you were to multiply them together, you get the usage charge. You've also got a water access charge. So the first one is for the amount of water you use. The other is for basically all the infrastructure behind it, so the pipes, all the plumbers that need to be on call, etc. Given this is a real-life bill, here, if you'd only owed anything from the last bill, for instance, if you'd forgotten to pay it or something like that, that amount would be added on. Some people would get pension rebates, etc., which would reduce the bill a bit. But there's a fairly standard sort of water bill for Cowra Council. Okay, so in this example, we've got quite a simplified water bill. Okay, so we've got the water service, so that's the fixed amount for having access to all of the pipes, etc. So that's your fresh, clean water coming into the house. You've also got the wastewater charge, which is for the dirty water going out, so your toilet, shower water, etc. Then here, they haven't worked out the amount, but they've told us that this person's used 33.5 kilolitres and they've been charged $2.115 per kilolitre. So the first thing we're going to do is work out that amount at A. We're just simply going to multiply those two numbers together. So we'll go to our trusty calculator. Okay, so we get on our calculator screen, we'll get 70.8525. Don't forget we round that to the nearest cent. Now in part B, for the value B, we just need to add up these three values to work out the total. So we've got the 41.39, the 162.88, and the amount we've just worked out. So we add them together. To get our answer of $275.12. Okay, now take a careful note of which questions to use here, because while we're at home learning, we're not going to do quite as many questions as we would normally do in class. Okay, for the month of June, a household uses 425 litres of water per day. How much water did they use for the entire month? So firstly, we need to know how many days there are in June. And look, it's just something you need to remember, but there are 30 days in June. Look, a good mnemonic for that is the knuckle method. Imagine these are the knuckles of your fist. Like so. That's a very poor drawing. That's why I'm a maths teacher, not an art teacher. Okay, if we want to remember how many days in each month, starting at a knuckle with January, then go down into the valley with February, March, April, May, June, July, and then coming back, just make sure you hit that last knuckle twice. So we then go August, September, October, November, December. So that's just a nice little way, and whenever you're down in one of the valleys, they're the months with which don't have 31 days. So all the ones on the knuckles have 31 days. Most of the ones in the valleys have 30 days. But February has 28 in an ordinary year, 29 in another year. Okay, so to work out how much water they've used in June, take the number of days in June, multiply that by the number of litres that they've used. And what we then want to do, because we want to get an answer in kilolitres, and at the moment it's in litres. So to convert from litres to kilolitres, we need to divide by 1,000. Again, if you go to your calculator, okay, that's going to give us 12.75 kilolitres, and if we have a look, that's answer B. Okay, in question 3, we've got this made-up water bill here. Again, you've sort of got general information up the top, and you've just got to have a look through that bill to see all sorts of information. The most important is the amount which is due and when it's due by, and we'll be looking through the rest of this bill for various, or to answer other questions. So just moving that down a little bit. Our first question is, how many days are there from the bill's day of issue to the payment's due date? In other words, how much warning are you going to get that you need to pay this bill? If you carefully have a look, you'll notice that the date of issue is the 12th of May and you need to pay it by the 2nd of June. So what we've got to do is work out how many days are left in May. So there are 31 days in May. Take away the 12 days that have already been used up and add the extra 2 days you'll get in June to pay it. And if you work that out, you'll get 21 days, or in other words, 3 weeks. So you've got that much time to make sure you've got enough money in your account. Part B, is this bill paid monthly, 2-monthly or quarterly? Again, nothing which is really obvious in here, but there's a couple of hints. Firstly, the charges you can see are for April, May and June, so 3 months, in other words a quarter of a year. The last thing is that this thing here is close to a quarter. Basically the difference being that they're not necessarily going to be able to read it on exactly dates 3 months apart. Okay, so the bill covers 3 months, that's a quarter of a year, so we write quarterly. Part C, what are the fixed charges for and how much are they in total? So if we have a look at the charges here, the first two don't have any details because they're fixed for everybody. You've got a water service, which is the supply of clean drinking water, and you've got the sewage service, which is taking the dirty water away. Separately, you've got a user charge, which it isn't fixed because this will vary depending on how many kilolitres of water you used. So the fixed charges are going to be water service. How about we just write water and sewage service? I haven't got much room here, but let's just say drinking water and dirty water. In other words, clean water coming in, dirty water going away. Okay, part D. How many litres of water, or kilolitres of water, were used in the period covered by this bill? So we look around until we find the number of kilolitres, which is 18 kilolitres. Part E, was more water used each day for this bill compared to the last bill? Give a possible reason for this. Let's just move up the table. Now down the bottom here, here's this current bill shaded in blue, and here's the previous bill, and you can see that they've used less water, so let's just write that down. Okay, give a possible reason for this. You notice here we've got 2 months of autumn and 1 month of winter. So the previous bill must have been basically 2 months of summer and one of autumn. So obviously you've got a lot hotter time of year, so you're probably going to be watering the lawns and the gardens more. So let's write that down. Something like watering gardens less in cooler weather. There's no one exact answer to that question, but that one's good enough. Okay, F. Why is it more useful to compare the average daily usage with that of the same time last year? Okay, let's move up and have a look. So you notice down here we can either compare this bill with the previous bill, or this bill with the same time last year, you notice they're fairly similar because the weather is roughly going to be the same in those two similar seasons. So we can just say something like the weather is more similar. Now the good reason to check compared with the same time the last year is if you get a big difference and you're not sure why, it may mean you've got a leaking pipe, or maybe you've got somebody else staying with you who wasn't there last time, or if the usage is dropped, there could be similar problems the other way. Okay, verify the average daily usage of 205 litres by dividing the volume of water used by the number of days covered in this bill. So we mentioned that the amount of water was 18 kilolitres or 18,000 litres. Now if we look down at the bottom of this bill, it actually tells us that this covered 88 days. There, let's just move this back into position. Okay, so we've used 18,000 litres of water in 88 days. And if you shove that into your calculator, you get that 205 litres. So we have verified that. What is the cost per kilolitre for water usage? Again, if we have a look on the bill, we can see it's that $2.115 per kilolitre. So $2.115 per kilolitre. Okay, verify the water usage charge of $38.07 using this rate. So what we're going to do is check that 18 times 2.115 is equal to that. So again, writing that down, 18 times 2.115, and again if you go to your calculator it does in fact give you that answer. Last question, backyard swimming pool contains 40 kilolitres of water. Calculate the cost of filling this pool with water. So we just take the number of kilolitres, multiply it by the cost per kilolitre. Okay, we get a display of 84.6, which remember means $84.60. Okay, question 5. Hannah's water bill shows that water usage is charged at $2.115 per kilolitre. Part A, if Hannah uses 24 kilolitres of water, how much will she need to pay? So we just go the number of kilolitres times the rate per kilolitre. Go into our calculator, we'll get $50.76. Part B, now Hannah actually pays that much in water usage charges on her latest bill. Correct to one decimal place how many kilolitres of water did she use. So this time we're going to take the amount she was charged, divide it by the rate per kilolitre, and that will tell us the number of kilolitres that we used. So to the nearest, or to one decimal place, we'll get 15.4, and that's in kilolitres. Hannah was also charged $41.39 for the water service and $232.88 for the wastewater service. What was the total of Hannah's bill? So we're just going to add up the three amounts, so the amount for the water she actually used, the amount for access to the pipes, and the amount to get all of the dirty water taken away from the house. Okay, and adding them up, we'll get a total bill of $306.84. The Crozza family has 2 adults and 2 teenagers. In 1 year, their water usage for each quarter is shown below. So here's the first, second, third and fourth quarter and the number of kilolitres they've used. Part A, what was the Crozza family's total water usage for the year? We're just going to add those numbers up. Take those to our calculator. Okay, we're going to get 199.6 kilolitres. Okay, part B, we need to find the average that they use per quarter, and that's quite simply that total divided by the number of quarters in a year. And if we work that out, we'll get 49.9 kilolitres. Part C, calculate the average daily water use for 1st of January to 31st of March. So we need to work out the number of days. So there's 31 days in January. Look, we'll assume 28 in February. They haven't said it's a leap year, so 28 occurs more than 29. And the 31 days of March. So adding that up, we'll get to 90 days. We simply take the amount of water that they use, up in there. Okay, so the 51 kilolitres or 51,000 litres, divide it by the number of days to get our average daily usage. That's going to be 567 litres to the nearest litre. Part D, the Crosser family use the dishwasher twice a day, requiring 21 litres of water each time it's used. How much water did their dishwasher use over the third quarter? Okay, so they're going to use it twice a day. Each time it will use 21 litres. And they're going to use it, okay, so we need to work out how many days here. So July has got 31, August has got 31, and September has got 30. So adding them up, we'll get 92. So we've taken the number of times we use the dishwasher per day, times the number of litres it uses each time, times the number of days in that quarter. We'll get 3,864 litres. Part E, calculate what percentage of the third quarter water usage was for the dishwasher. So what we're going to do here is take the amount of water that the dishwasher used in that quarter, divide by the total amount of water we used, and this is in litres, so we need to convert that from kilolitres to litres. We're going to times it by 100% to make it a percentage. And we'll get an answer of 8.3%.